Hello, hello, hello. Hey. Welcome. Happy Thursday. I did not check my mic. Man, I hope it's working. um, I learned I used to be like, if you can't hear me, let me know. But if you can't hear me, how are you gonna let me know? So I'm just gonna start talking. And assume that if people jump in and they can't hear me, that they will let me know in the chat. So yeah, happy Thursday, everyone. Good morning. I am going to jump right in because got lots to cover today. So I am Bree Bears. I'm gonna throw the slides up real quick. This one maybe? Hey. So I'm Bree Bears. I've been in accounting for gee whiz, about 20 years. Bree Bears and Associates is my first firm. It's in its 7th year now. And we do tax prep and planning over there. And we specialize in small business and complex individual tax returns. And then I am also the founder of Peak Prosperity CFO, where we empower owners of 7-figure businesses to boost their annual compensation by $100,000 by providing profit-centered thought leadership. We work with what we do is we work with 7-figure business owners who are feeling stuck and wanting more work-life balance and more money in their personal bank account from their business. So we help them attain those goals. So today we are talking about 5 common myths about running a successful 7-figure business. So I think we're going to jump right in. But the reason I picked this topic is because I think as I'm working with our CFO clients who are all 7-figure business owners, there is this misconception that once you hit that 7-figure mark, things just magically become easier, right? The money is magically there to support you personally. You magically have this work-life balance, and it's really not the case. There are still some things that you got to do, you got to figure out to make that work. So we're going to go over these 5 misconceptions, and we're going to debunk them and kind of talk about what actually is true about this. All right, let's see. So myth one is revenue is the number one KPI. So if you don't know, KPI is key performance indicator. And no matter which level you are in business, you guys, you should have at least 2, and I'll tell you which 2 they are. You should have at least 2 KPIs that you are tracking. All right. And what that means is you're looking at your financials, your P&L, your balance sheet on a minimum of a quarterly basis. All right. And you are monitoring those indicators. So we discussed this on Friday as well, but it is just so important. I want to make sure we hit this home. And so much we talk about in business is all about revenue, right? When we talk about size, right? When I'm sitting here saying 7-figure business, I'm talking about revenue. That's just that is the typical way that we measure the size and success of our business. But a lot of us think that, okay, as long as we're making 7-figure business, 7 figures in our business, that profit margins don't matter. Okay, so many people focus on revenue instead of profit or profit margins. Right? But a high revenue business, a business can have high revenue and have low to no profit margins, which leads to that financial instability. So a sustainable business is going to focus on both. But I truly believe that profitability is even more important than revenue. That if you're focused on profitability, your revenue will increase naturally. So I'm going to give examples that if you've been with me in previous trainings, you've heard these, but I really want to hit home on this profit over revenue. All right. So I have a client who came to me in the end of 2022. They were a first-year client with me in 2023. All right. I'm looking at their 2021, 2022 financials. So in 2021, they had revenue of $800,000 and they had a profit of $200,000. All right. And after 2021, they made it a goal. They weren't working with me yet, but they made it a goal to be $1 million company in 2022. That was their goal. All right. They didn't really have a plan. They were just like, we're going to hit $1 million. However, we're going to do that. We're just going to go, balls to the wall. And we're going to, hit $1 million in revenue. And they did. In 2022, I'm looking at their financials when they come to me, and they made $1.2 million in 2022. Right? So they crushed it. So they had it, but you guys, they only had a profit of $180,000. So their revenue went up $400,000, like 50%, 800,000 to 1.2. They had a 50% increase in revenue, and their profit went down by 20%, 10%, math, 10%. So they essentially what they did is they spent $420,000 to make $400,000. All right, because they were focused solely on revenue. They hit their revenue goal, but they minimized or they decreased their profit. That is not what we want, right? One more example I like to give. So my friend Jamie Troll, who she is a financial fitness formula digital course guru. So quick plug for her here. If you're not to that point where you're ready to hire a CFO, look into her course, because get on the wait list for that, because it is money. All right. But this example she likes to use is she tells her, I can go out and make $8,000 today. I can probably do it in the next 4 hours. Right. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to go buy $10,000 worth of gift cards. So I'm going to go buy $1,100 gift cards. All right. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to sell each of those $100 gift cards for $80. All right. I'm going to sell them all, and I'm going to make $8,000 in revenue. I'm going to sell $1,080 gift cards for $8,000. But I spent $10,000 on it. So even though my revenue is $8,000, I have a loss of $2,000. All right. So just a couple of examples that I wanted to give to make sure it really hits home that profit is what I believe more important than revenue. All right. So with our fractional CFO clients, you guys, we always have 2 KPIs, and we always are monitoring these, and those are profit and cash. And it goes back to making sure that we are profitable, because it does not matter how much revenue you have. If you're not profitable, okay, you're losing money. And cash, you want to make sure you have enough cash to pay debt, for a rainy day, those things. So those are always 2 of our KPIs that we track for our fractional CFO clients. And I always suggest 3 to 5, 5 max, 5 KPIs max, but 2 of them should always, always, always be either profit or profit margin and cash. All right. So our second myth is that you can do it all alone. All right. So many of us are either we own our business alone, or maybe we're in a partnership with a significant other. But most of my clients are single owners, right? They're not in these big partnerships, they're single owners. But if you think about, thank you. But if you think about the big successful companies and corporations, right? We're talking Mary Barra of GM, Karen Lynch of CVS Health, Roz Brewer of Walgreens, Marvin Ellison. He's the Lowe's CEO. All of these, my mentor, Rachel Rogers, she's of Hello 7. None of these people are managing their books, are doing their finances. They're not handling customer service requests and complaints. They're not leading marketing campaigns. They're not making sales calls. All right. What these people are doing is they're leading a small leadership team who is then managing other teams who are performing these tasks. All right. They are not doing everything. In fact, they are doing usually nothing inside the actual business. All right. And so as you scale, no matter what level you're at, you need to start having that leadership mentality and hiring people around you to help you build your business, build your team. All right. So what I tell people is to get from here to there, right? From where you are right now is you're doing too many tasks in the business, right? You're doing the books, you're leading the marketing. Maybe you're doing all the sales calls, right? So the first thing to do to get from here to there, which is managing a leadership team, that should be our ultimate goal, all right? Taking ourselves completely out of the business. First thing you got to do, determine your zone of genius, all right? Because you're not going to just be able to all of a sudden wipe your hands of all the in the business tasks, all right? You're going to have to kind of travel there, right? It's a roadmap. Where you are now, you're doing too many things in the business. Where you need to be is doing nothing in the business and leading your leadership team. So it's just not a switch, right? You got to get there. So the first thing, determine your zone of genius and focus on tasks in that zone. All right. And when you're thinking about where your zone of genius is and where these tasks are, and I'm talking like 2 to 3 tasks, you guys, you should not be doing all the little things, 2 to 3 tasks. I want you to make sure that they are high value activities that are directly impacting your profitability. All right. So one of those tasks is always going to be leadership. All right. And you're going to have to eventually get yourself out of managing the whole team and managing just your leadership team. But one of those, and if you're not good at managing people, I hate it. Right. As a CEO, as a leader in a 7-figure business, you're going to have people under you, whether it's 5 or 20. All right. I'm not telling you to manage all 20. I'm telling you to manage 1 or 2 that manage everybody else. All right. That's where you want to get. So that it has to always be one of your tasks, even if that's not technically your zone of genius. And for now, as you're trying to get to that complete, out of the business, what are your zones of genius? Maybe it is marketing. So maybe you do still have your hand in marketing, but you let go of everything else. For most of my clients, it's sales. Sales is where that's their jam. All right. So they are still doing the sales as they're migrating from here to there. They're still doing the sales, but they're letting go of all the little other things they're doing in the business. So they can replace all of that with leadership, being a leader. All right. And the other big thing, the task you guys need to do to get from here to there is create SOPs for all those other tasks that you're doing and then delegate them. So determine your zone of genius, focus on those 2 to 3 tasks in your zone of genius. One of them must be leadership. All right. Even if that is not your zone of genius, you got to lead people. And then everything else on your task list, the bookkeeping, the marketing campaigns, whatever it is that you're doing, create SOPs for them so that your team is doing them the way you want them to be done, and delegate. All right. Okie dokie. Next slide. So myth 3 is you have to sell to everyone. Okay. And I fell into this trap too. When I first took over my business, I would take on any tax return. Anyone who needed their tax return done, I would do it. It did not matter. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. I would do it. And you very soon realize, you really quickly realize that it is a lot more work they call it jack of all trades, master of none, right? To know a little bit of everything and be able to help everyone kind of, as opposed to finding a niche, right? And I think I wrote that on the slides. Where are my slides? There we go. Finding your niche, all right? Because then you have a highly targeted customer base, right? You're not just like, hey, business owners, I can do your tax return. I'm like, hey, construction and, distribution, people, I can do your tax return. Or I have tax associates who all they do is Section 1031 exchanges. All right. That is what they do. They found their niche and that is who they work with. And so many of us think that in order to make more money, in order to scale, in order to grow, we have to appeal to more people. But we're thinking about that the wrong way. We're thinking about more people in that we need to please everyone as opposed to more people in our niche. There's plenty of people in our niche, whatever that is for us, that need our guidance, that need our help, that need our service, that need our products. All right. So we need to find your niche, get that highly targeted customer base. Do not be the jack of all trades. All right. And master of none. Because the other side to that, you guys, is if you don't get to charge premium prices for those goods or services. All right. What I want you to do is become an expert in your niche, because becoming an expert in your niche leads to being able to charge more, and you're better at what you're doing because you know more about it. You get to know less. I think the slide says experts can charge more and know less. What I mean by that, it doesn't mean you don't have to know anything, right? But let's say, for example, let's use tax accounting, right? Let's say I decide to only be a tax accountant for 1031 exchanges. Then all I need to know in that huge, 400 and some odd pages of tax code is 1031 exchanges. I don't have to know anything else. All right. So I become really good at that one area of expertise. Okay. So I spend a lot less time doing what I'm doing or doing my work. All right. And when you're working less, when you're not out there researching or learning new skills that you're going to use for this one client, right? You are able to spend that time making money and generating revenue and hopefully profits. So myth 4, scaling always means more products. So this is really similar, right? The myth 3 was selling to everyone. So that was like having a broad customer base. This is having a broad product base or offering. All right. So with this, you guys, there we go. I'm not saying that more products can 100% be the key to scaling. All right. It works for lots of businesses. You're successful at one thing, but that's the thing, right? They've built this one product or this one service. They've gotten really good at it, and then they expand. All right. Then they expand. But more products, more service offerings, that's not the only way you can scale. The opposite can be true. You can eliminate your non or less profitable products or services so that you can focus those resources on the products with the higher profit margins. So for example, let's say I make sandwiches and burritos. All right. When I break it down, I see a lot of times, again, we're looking at revenue. Let's say my sandwiches cost $4, my burritos cost $3. So I'm like, got to make more sandwiches. They make more money. But when I look at the profit, right, revenue minus all the costs associated with making that sandwich versus making burritos, let's say the profit on that burrito is $2 and the profit on the sandwiches is only $1. Okay. I can take those resources, the labor, the machinery, whatever it is making those sandwiches, shift it over the burritos and make a lot more money with the same or less work. You with me? Hopefully. All right. Other strategies that can lead to scaling, you can focus on improving customer retention. This is a huge one. I remember learning very early in my journey as an entrepreneur, I was told it's cheaper to keep a customer than to gain a new one. All right. And so keep that in mind. Because a lot of times just focusing on that customer retention and that customer satisfaction can be a way to scale and make more money. All right. Another way is increase your average order value, right? Upsell those current clients. Those ones that you're working on customer retention, they love you, whatever, upsell them. If you're a tax preparer, upsell to tax planning. If you're selling sandwiches at the airport, see if they're interested in expanding to burritos, whatever that is, find your current clients and see if there's a way that you can add an additional service to them. All right, and the other one, and this is outside my expertise, but optimizing your marketing is another way that you can scale your business. All right, and that really means like making sure your marketing is targeted to your ideal clients. All right, not to everybody. All right. And last, you guys, our fifth myth is that you can relax once your business hits 7 figures. All right. And this I'm learning in so many ways. Like, every one of my CFO clients thought this. All right. At least the ones that like we've had this conversation with. There's a few we haven't really dug into, but the ones that we've talked about this, like, yeah, 7 figures was my goal because in my brain, once I hit 7 figures, I was going to be able to kick back, relax, and I'd be paying myself a crap ton of money. None of that's happening, and that's why they come to me. All right. I'm not saying every 7-figure business owner is struggling with this, right? A lot of them have it figured out. But what I'm learning as I talk to people, clients and not clients, is a lot of them don't have it figured out. They're running this successful business. The business is making money. The business, they have this beautiful brand. They have this amazing team, all the things. But when we ask them specifically, do you have the work-life balance you wanted? And are you taking home the money you thought you would at this level? The answer to one or both of those questions is no. So much more often than you think it would be. All right. And I think part of that is just because you feel like once you've made it to 7 figures, you're supposed to have it figured out. All right. I'm here to tell you that that's not true. All right. I am finding more 7-figure business owners than not do not have that part figured out. All right. And so they talk about new levels, new doubles, right? So we talk about what got you here isn't going to get you there. And part of that is that up until this point, you've struggled, right? You're like, not struggled, but you've worked really hard. You've been working tons of hours. You've been okay not taking home. You might be paying yourself a livable wage, but not nearly what you feel like you should be running $1 million company, right? And up until this point, you're like, okay, but it's fine. I'll do that at the next level. I'll do that at the next level. What you have to do is set up this level for success. Whatever level you're at, you can set it up for success in work-life balance and in take-home pay, all right? I'm going to say that again. No matter what level you are at in your entrepreneurial journey, minus like super startup, right? But whether you're a 5-figure, 6-figure, 7-figure business, you can and should be able to set up your business model so that you have the work-life balance that you desire, or a better work-life balance, and you are paying yourself a reasonable amount of money based on how much your business is making. So I can't tell you how many people out there, especially in that 7-figure business, who are still paying themselves a 5-figure salary, or like taking out only 5 figures out of their business. So you're telling me your business made $1 million and you were only able to pay yourself 80 grand of it? All right. There's something that can be fixed there. And that's what we do at Peak Prosperity CFO. So this is where my ideal fractional CFO comes from, or fractional client comes from. And what it comes down to is that they're still just working way too much. And like I said, they're not even taking home 6 figures. So what we do is, and what's very unique, I believe, to our business model versus just a typical fractional CFO, is we start with your personal goals. All right. We talk about your personal goals. We set a personal budget, right? Like, what does this business need to be paying you to live the life you want to live? All right. And then we work backwards into the business and we set the KPIs in order to ensure that there is enough money for you to take home from the business. So pretty proud of what I'm building over there at Peak Prosperity CFO. So I can't read that. That's so small. Let's reverse it. Is it this one? Let's see. Let's make it bigger for you guys. There we go. So just to summarize, we're going to summarize the training. So common misconceptions of building a 7-figure business. We're going to squash them, right? So first, what is true is that we want to think about profit over revenue, okay? We want to focus on profit, and then if we want, we can focus on revenue. But if you focus on profit, your revenue will increase. I promise you, okay? Second, you cannot do this alone. What you need to do is build a leadership team, all right? Even if you do not like managing people, you need to build a small leadership team. You can lead that leadership team and they can do all the other stuff, all right? It is not your job to do everything in the business. And at 7 figures, you shouldn't be doing much in the business. You should be doing a lot on the business. Third, do not be a jack of all trades. Niche down and become a master of one trade, a master of one area, and become really freaking good at it, right? There are multiple ways to scale other than just offering more products. That is a way to scale, but I gave you 3 or 4 other ways to scale as well. And then finally, work-life balance and money in your personal bank account does not come magically. You need guidance, whether that's from me or some other fractional CFO, especially at the 7-figure business or 7-figure revenue mark. You can and you need to hire someone to help advise you in this area if you want to find the work-life balance, pay yourself enough, and or scale your business to the next level. That said, if this is you, you can learn more about our fractional CFO service at Peak Prosperity CFO at that link, which is also in the description for this video. So that is that. Let's see. I will be back on Monday. Nope, it's only Thursday. I'll be back tomorrow, guys. I'll be back tomorrow. So tomorrow we're talking about simple ways to thrive as a single owner of a 7-figure commerce business. So kind of similar to today, but we are really kind of digging down on how one of you can't do it alone. So we're going to talk about simple ways to make sure you're not trying to do this alone and how to improve in that area. So join me tomorrow at same time, same place. All right, guys, have a great Thursday. Bye.